most people don't kind of know the story of the Expert Mentor series, but you and Beer got together with Kinder and Stasik, and I jumped on, and we're like, man, we've got a lot of rock stars in this Badger Nation, and we got a lot of rock stars that want to pour in and give back. I think we should come up with something and, do something on a consistent basis to be able to just, pull from the best of the best to be able for them to give. And in true Kinder fashion, he goes, all right, Kitchens is the man. He'll be the most consistent to run with it. And so here we are, 204 episodes later. And it's been awesome, man. And I know we had you way back on, been trying to get you back into the fold. And yeah, man, I'm just glad for you to be able to jump in. I know you're crazy busy with your schedule, and know we're going to add a ton of value today.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for today. It's been a long time, but it's cool to see that Kinder was right. You were the man to make this consistent. Lord knows he would not have been. He can't even get consistent internet, so Lord knows he's not going to be consistent.
Before we jump in, I know you're going to add a ton of value. Had opportunity to see you on Monday. We were in Denver for the EXP sprint, and you got to kick things off for us. I told Kurt, I said, good job. I was like, nobody better to kick that room off than yourself. And you really hit on a couple things. I was sitting there even taking notes, and really have to help our agents really be more productive. Have to really focus on helping them really help and accomplish what it is that they're wanting to accomplish, and really focus on their productivity. And I know that this conversation is going to lead right into that. And the other thing that, I took that you shared was we got to make sure we're doing a great job at celebrating our people and celebrating their successes and celebrate their wins. And, it was really impactful. It was like, yeah, got it. So can you elaborate on that just a little bit before we jump in?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there's, you can never acknowledge people enough. I don't know anybody in my life that I have met that has gotten upset that I acknowledged them for doing something, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, people like to be acknowledged. It feels good, especially in an industry where we're going a million miles a minute. It's very easy to lose sight of a lot of these things that people are doing. And so just for example, some of the things just in the last week that I've acknowledged, like, we were at the sprint in Denver, and a couple of my team members are at FubCon speaking. So, like, one, just acknowledging them, like, one, doing it publicly, which feels, I just did some Darren Hardy courses. This is, he talks about you have to appeal to the brain, to the heart, or the groin. It's kind of weird when we start talking about appealing to the groin, but like, you do have to do that. And there's certain things in life that appeal to the groin, certain things that appeal to the heart. But that appeals to the groin. Like, when you can acknowledge somebody that they're getting put on this big ass stage, like that appeals to the groin. Like, it's an ego thing. It feels really good. So if somebody gets an opportunity like that, like, you should acknowledge them. So, and I have one of my guys, it's really cool. Like, literally over these 3 days, I have two of my team members speaking at FubCon. One is speaking at an ARIA event locally here in San Diego today. Like, that's so freaking cool to have my team members having these opportunities. And so acknowledging them publicly for having the opportunity, and then acknowledging them, like, my girl Rachel spoke at FubCon yesterday. I got a bunch of text messages from people like, hey, your girl's amazing. She crushed it. So I shot her a personal video this morning. In addition to having acknowledged her publicly, shooting her a personal video and saying, hey, Rachel, I just want to let you know, like, I had 5 people shoot me messages talking about how great you were on stage yesterday. And I just want to tell you how excited I am for you. And how honored I am to have you be a part of the team. Like, keep crushing it. And like, that little video goes such a freaking long way for people. So the combination of, like, the public praise, but also the private, like, more personal praise, that stuff is so valuable. And last week we like rank our agents every month into these different quartiles. And so every agent who moved up a quartile, I shot every single one of them a video, like a 1-to-1 video. We celebrated them in, like, our public Slack channel. But then I also shot them, like, personal videos 1-to-1, and just trying to do more of that stuff is something, like, I'm super obsessed with right now.
That's amazing. Yeah, it does. A little thing, I like to send that little personal, happy birthday video to people. And it just, because I know when it happens to me, how good I feel that somebody took the time to do something personal like that. And it's just a great reminder for everybody listening in. Before we jump into the 15, opportunities that I know you're going to share, Do you help your people get on those stages?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I reach out to the different, event host and just let them know, hey, this person's great. You should have them on your stage. They'll crush it. And sometimes, like I've spoken on a lot of these stages, and people get fatigued of seeing the same people speak all the time too. So some of these guys will even come to me and say, hey, who else could we have speak on your team? And so like having my integrator, my COO speak, having my director of sales speak, or having my top agent speak. So like I try to nominate them for these things whenever I can too, to get them those opportunities. But also part of it is getting them to host stuff internally within the company, like hosting our team meeting, especially like if I'm out of town, like I look to these people to elevate them to step up. Like one of our girls is sick today and somebody needs to host our in-office role play. And I was like, hey, we need to find who's going to step up, which one of our agents is willing to step up and take a role and take a little leadership. So trying to elevate people within the organization into some of these leadership roles internally, which then creates those opportunities externally.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great lesson for everybody listening in is, I think, you talked about ego is that, so many people are fighting to get themselves into the spotlight. And, when you step back and really try to help, the key people around you. And like you said, even the little things of letting them lead within the organization, that's just like, we've got to cultivate the leadership. We've got to grow our leaders within our organizations to be able to step up. And it's such an important piece. And I think it's even more critical now than ever, right? As we're transitioning into, for a lot of agents and probably a lot of agents even on your team haven't even experienced kind of a market that we're moving towards or are currently in. So let's jump in, man. I know, you've got tons of value, so let you run away with it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's funny. I built this deck a couple years ago when I thought like as we were going into 19 before COVID, when the market was starting to turn a little bit, where I thought we were going to have the correction that we needed. And then COVID hit, and obviously it had an opposite effect of what a lot of us thought. So now we finally are going into this downward market. COVID just, held it up for a couple of years, but we're finally in this shifting market. And so there's so many freaking opportunities that get presented in a market like this. So I'm going to do a quick share here.
Yeah, sure. And I'll throw it up.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So yeah, I want to just share with you guys, like there's 15 opportunities that I see out there in a shifting market. And we'll talk a little bit about each of these. There we go. Let's make sure these are all shown on the screen. There we go. Okay. So here's the first five. Number one, the sales and marketing skills are just way more important now than they have ever been before. This is a market where a lot of people are getting exposed for being weak. The agent, because all you had to do before was like a client called and they're like, hey, can you go show me 123 Main Street? And you just had to be there to open the door for them. And then they would write the offer on the home. Like there was literally no skill involved. You were just, pulling a number, out of your backside to put on the offer and hoping it got accepted. But there was like zero skill in that. Same thing when you listed a home, like you met with a seller, they were so excited to sell because they knew they were going to get a crazy price for their home and it was going to sell in 2 days. And then, so it was very, very easy, but that's not the market that we are in today. You're having much tougher conversations. I'm talking to agents all the time that are thinking about getting out of the market right now because how tough the conversations have become. Because you're talking to buyers and buyers are like, oh, the rates are too high, I don't want to buy. And sellers are like, yeah, I don't want to sell because I'm going to have to, my neighbor sold for $1 million and I got to sell for 900. I don't want to sell. Like these are much tougher conversations. And the agents who don't have the skill set are getting exposed in this market because it's not what it was 6 or 12 months ago. And so I think there's such a, quality component that the cream's going to rise to the top in this market. The people who are actually putting the time, energy, and effort into really fine tune their skills, which, the primary ways we do that in this industry is to, one, understand the journey that somebody has been on before they land on our phone or land on our inbox, which a lot of people don't do that. You can't take a one size fits all approach to leads. The way you're going to talk to a lead that Zillow Live connects you with is totally different than the way you're going to follow up with a lead that filled out a form on your website is totally different the way you're going to handle a referral from a past client. Like every lead, we got to understand the journey that that person's been on, and then we have to apply a conversation that's going to align with the journey that that person's on. Because if I'm calling a 10-year-old lead in my database versus the live connect from Zillow, like those are two totally different people that I'm speaking to that are at totally different places in their journey. And so we got to fine tune our skills to make sure we're having the right conversation with the right person at the right time. And a lot of that is one, understanding the journey they've been on, and two, understanding the conversation that we need to have with that person. So we're huge on role playing. We role play our phone conversations every single day. And we also role play our in-person presentation. So literally the second this is over, I'm jumping into in-person role play with my team. And I think that's a lost art. A lot of people, they spend all this time and money to generate leads and to follow up with the leads and set appointments with the leads. And then they go on the appointment and they completely crap the bed. They've never actually practiced, what am I going to do when I sit down at the kitchen table and I have to talk to somebody about why they should sell their home with me, and why they should sell in this market and how they should price their home in this market. Like if you haven't role played that, and you're having that conversation for the first time with a client at the kitchen table, like, and you're going up against me, I'm going to smoke you every single time. So so important to really fine tune your skills in this market, the sales skills and the marketing. Like your marketing message in this market has to change. You can't run the same thing, like curious what your home is worth. Like that shit's not going to fly. You've got to change your messaging on that. Like curious how rising rates have affected your home value. How much has your home value decreased, because of interest rates, like stuff like that. It's got to be a different message right now. So
where do you point, Cal, where do you point those people that on the marketing side? I just have this just firm belief that you've got to think like a marketer that just happens to sell real estate. And it's not the best agent, right? The best marketer wins. And so sure. Like where do you guys kind of the information, what do you try to get in front of them to understand that and to develop that skill?
In front of the agent or the consumer?
In front of the agent, to understand, hey, you got to change your way of thinking, and here's some things that you need to be paying attention to increase your skill set around marketing.